So these are 5 uncomfortable truths that made me rich in my 20s, and they could do the exact same for you if you apply them correctly. I will 100% say these changed my financial future, if you will, especially now at the age that I'm at. If you can handle hearing them, they can do the same. And I'll be honest, some of you probably aren't even ready to hear what I'm about to tell you, or you just won't fully conceptualize it, which is both okay. But if I could just open up a few of your minds to some of these, I guarantee you're going to make more money. So let's not waste any time. Let's get to the first one, which is arguably the most controversial, and that is the world owes you nothing, and the sooner you start acting like it, the easier your life is going to get. And I know this sounds a little bit cutthroat, like I said. It doesn't, the world doesn't care about your degree, your work ethic, even your intentions or what you do, or people say what you do on the, behind closed doors is what makes you your character. And it's like, that's 100% true, but the world doesn't see it that way, right? It doesn't matter about your struggle, your upbringing, your excuses, your quote unquote trauma, right? The only things that matter is the value you create and the problems you solve for other people. I like to just call it the market or the marketplace, right? The moment I kind of stopped expecting handouts and expecting things to happen to me and started asking, what can I give instead of what can I get? That's when everything changed, right? Instead of waiting for opportunities, I kind of created them. I brute forced my way through, which we'll talk about more in a couple of minutes. Instead of complaining about unfairness, I found ways to win anyway, right? I will actually go as far as to say the world is actually rigged. The world is against you. The algorithms, the government, these big corporations, etc. Again, I don't want to sound too sinister, but I do believe that stuff to be true. In this day and age, you have to be ruthless, dude. Like you just have to use your head, go through the wall of brute force until you get what you want. That is the only way you're going to win. So I'd say like the actionable takeaway here, stop waiting for someone to discover your talent. Stop expecting your boss to promote you just because you showed up, just because you did the bare minimum, and stop thinking the world's, owes you success. Take responsibility for your results and watch how quickly things improve. I'm not saying take responsibility for things that aren't, yours or you're doing, but do start to reframe your thinking to act that way a little bit more. Truth number 2. Yesterday's wins mean absolutely nothing today. The scoreboard resets daily. And this one is luckily something I caught very early on, and that was because of my sales job. I love sales for this reason, because I like to say today's deals or yesterday's deals aren't today's commission, right? And that's it. Tomorrow is a fresh day, and that scoreboard literally resets at midnight. I literally had that. We had a tally with our daily appointments, and that would reset every single day at 11:59, and we'd come into the office with donuts, with 0. And I remember being so happy about appointments earlier in the week when I had a slow Thursday or Friday, and my boss would immediately call me out and be like, dude, like, what are you talking about? Like, you need deals today. You need appointments today. So the harsh reality is, like, success isn't a destination you arrive at. It's something you have to earn every single day. Your bank account from last month doesn't pay this month's bills, right? Your achievements from last year don't guarantee anything this year, right? So I see so many people living off like this past glory that they've got, or they've had one business success, one good year, one viral post, and then they coast on that for years. The market moves on. Competitors are coming up every single day, and they will eat you alive for your lunch money, right? And you're going to get left behind. So every morning I wake up at 0. I say, what did I do yesterday to make money? Like, it doesn't matter. What am I going to do today? That's all that counts. This mindset keeps you moving, keeps you innovating, keeps you relevant. You have to do these things, okay? And ask yourself, what are you doing today to move forward? Not what you did last week, not what you plan to do tomorrow. What are you doing right now to create value and make money? Right? So think about that. Truth number 3, buying things to impress people makes you poor. And luckily, this is the only one on this list that I never struggle with. But if you look at 90% of social media, it's always a flex of something, right? The cars, the watches, which, listen, I'm all for sharing accomplishments, but it gets to a level that is just flat, right? And Alex Becker talked about this perfectly. He's like, the people you're trying to impress don't even care. The people who you think care don't matter, right? Or even the people who do care don't matter. It's punching down. You're punching down to people who can't even afford a supercar. And if you can, like, you're on a totally different game level. It doesn't even make any sense. And think about it. People constantly forget about seeing you or certain things you have in what, a day or less? Like, think about yourself. When you see a nice supercar, you're probably going to forget about it in a day or two anyways. So the truth is, if you want to play the big boy game of business, the real business people don't care about a $10,000 watch or a supercar. These guys have yachts, guys. These guys have jets. They are on a completely different league than you, and you're never even hear about that. So What the real cost is your freedom. You spend time and money to impress people that you don't even know, when in reality, that could be buying your freedom. So reframe your thinking. Instead of asking, what will people think if I buy this? Ask, will this purchase make or cost me money? Most of the time, you're going to realize you're about to make yourself poorer for no good reason. So I challenge you for the next 30 days, the next month, before buying anything non-essential, ask yourself, am I buying this because I need it or because I want to impress someone? Then watch how much money you save. Seriously. Truth number 4, you can't budget your way to wealth. You must earn more. Everyone's obsessed with budgeting, cutting expenses, finding the best deals. And look, I'm not saying that's actually good in principle, at least in the beginning. If you're a straight newbie coming into some money, it's actually a good thing to do. And I'm not saying don't be smart with your money, but you can only cut expenses so much. Your income has unlimited potential, right? Your expenses are very limited. And I spent years trying to optimize my $50,000 salary. I used every single budgeting app, cut every subscription. You know how much wealth I built? Almost zero. The only wealth I had was the money in the property, which I had saved, which was great, but I wasn't actually doing anything productive. So let's say you make $5,000 a month and you're an absolute wizard. You cut your expenses by, say, 20%. You save $1,000. But what if, instead of spending months perfecting your budget, you spent that time building a side hustle that makes you $2,000 a month? Now you've doubled your savings potential, right? So rich people don't get rich by clipping coupons. They get rich by increasing their income, by earning more, not spending less. So instead of asking yourself, the how do I spend less, or how can I, do this, focus on how can I earn more. Instead of cutting your coffee budget, figure out how to make an extra $200 a month. So that way the math works so much better in your favor, right? Pick one skill you have, figure out how to monetize it this week. Okay, freelancing, consulting, teaching, whatever. Focus on bringing new money in, not just managing the money you already have. The last one, perfect timing doesn't exist. And more so, it's like 2 in 1. You're competing with more people now than ever. Find a way to stick out. I used to wait for the perfect moment to start everything, perfect moment to start the business, to ask for a raise, to launch the project. You know what the perfect moment was? That, how to stay broke. That's what that was teaching me. So comfortable truth, if you will, is you're not just competing with the person in the cubicle next to you anymore. You're competing with people in another country who might do your job for half the price. Someone who's hungrier than you, someone who's not waiting for perfect timing. They're just going. And the advantage of, I'll call it like imperfect action, is while everyone else is waiting for everything to be perfect, I just kind of started with what I had. You just got to start anything, right? My first business idea wasn't perfect. My first video wasn't even perfect. Just produce, get something out there, right? If it was started and that put me ahead of 98% of people who are still planning, that's a win, right? That means I'm going to be making money sooner. So the best time to start, yes, was 10 years ago. I'll get you agreed on that. The second best time is now. Not when you have more money, not when you have more time, not when the market is better, right now. So what's the one thing you've been putting off because the timing isn't perfect? Start that this week. The first thing that comes to your mind as soon as I said those words. Start that as soon as possible. So anyways, short and sweet one for you today. As always, if you made it this far, I want to see you win. Comment below if you have any questions, and we'll see you in the next one.